more you get women in companies, the more the atmosphere will change, and the more men will be also able to change. So you have to create an atmosphere that allows for change, that people can see, well, what is the point of change if there is some extra bonus somehow?
Hi, my name is Justin Hay. I've got a question for Sherman. I was wondering about what might be some of the pitfalls of corporate-based partnerships with the NGOs. I remember reading about one country, it's relevant, one country where they have a larger safety net and another country where they have a smaller one. And the country with the smaller one, people, which is less forced giving to charity essentially, people give 10 times as much to charity per person than in the country with the larger one. And so I was wondering if you have the same problem with the corporation. If the corporation is giving the money to the charities instead of giving the money to their employees, and the employees giving the money to the charity, does that discourage employees from giving on their own? Is it better to have employee-driven charity, perhaps, where the company asks employees to give money and then they can vote somewhere to give the money? That way you get the clout of the company working with an NGO rather than just me as an individual giving $50 to the company, all the employees as a collective give $500,000. Is that better than actually the company directing? Because then the employees might see that they might not even feel the need to give anymore on their own.
There is a strong tendency to have matching, so that when employees give, whatever they give is matched by the company. So they have some sense of, responsibility to look out, what makes sense to them, and that will be matched by the company. But I think that the drive in terms of partnerships between NGOs and companies is to get away a little bit from that donation point of view and to move more into core business partnerships. So that you're not just paying the check and getting their logo on your website, but that you actually look to make your company as a whole sustainable, to make your company as a whole becoming a good corporate citizen. And in doing so, you're looking actually at the products that you have and how far the product and the knowledge that you have can serve, countries or groups within the society that are less well off. And to leverage the knowledge and the network and the understanding of NGOs to better roll out this type of product. That's the idea. So we need to move away from charity, because charity is kind of an arm's length approach, whereas I think that the real solution making comes when you get the brains on the table and they think about, what do you have that I don't have, and the other way around. And how can we create a better product or better operations that are better?
I think I was next. I have two short questions. One is first to you, Sherwin. Last year we had Michael Hammer here, who is the CEO of the One World Trust, and they are running the Global Accountability Project, GAP, which looks at accountability. You mentioned accountability as being one of the issues. It looks at accountability across international players at three sectors: transnationals, international institutions like the ILO at the United Nations level, and also international NGOs like Save the Children, which I saw was on your list. So I just wanted to know if you had sort of taken into account the GAP project in your analysis.
No, actually we didn't as such. We took into account more a corporate perspective in terms of governance, because we realized that the corporate perspective is much stronger. The framework is much harder on the organizations, and also there is no real universal standard in corporate governance or good governance. So it was a mixture of what I would say probably GMI is doing and what's now Riskmetrics, which was Deminor Racing before and was bought over. I worked for them actually for a couple of years. And so we tried to kind of come up with a standard and leverage it and check it out with some NGOs and companies to see whether they are too harsh or whether they make sense. And actually cut down a good bit from what we think corporations should be doing and what we think at least NGOs should be doing, and still NGO agencies or UN agencies were comparatively weak.
Thank you. Can I ask the other question to Rebecca? Next year at the Commission on the Status of Women, which is the UN agency that has been looking at the advancement of women, the key area that they'll be looking at is the role of men in various sectors. But the overarching concept is the role of men in promoting the advancement of women. And it sort of links into the point that you had made earlier. How do you see that the role of men in promoting the advancement of women? Because you've talked a lot about what women can do.
I think men have a very difficult role because it's all about somehow detachment and relinquishing some part of your property. There's an image that I read about that when women have come to invade the world of men, they came into a game of Monopoly that had already been played for several turns, and men had bought all the land and already put all the hotels and everything, and they come with their £2,000 and they want to play. Somehow I think it comes to that men have to give up some of their land in the hotel. Creating that, I think there's more and more men in this world who are aware of also that the system, the competition system, is also working against themselves, because not every man wants to go into the competition. Not every man is aggressive and doesn't like that, and there's more and more of this tendency of changing. So I think they're ready to relinquish some of their land in their hotel and get women in, because many have noticed. So what I think men could do is create an environment that allows women to advance, and this environment is changing the way people interact using different tools. I mean, for example, the consultation and non-confrontational approaches in which you see women take more willingly part than into anything that is debate and confrontation. So this is just a tiny example.
Perhaps we have...
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I just want to say there's a lot of interest obviously here. We can see a lot of hands, but unfortunately we're running out of time, so perhaps we'll take 1, 2 more questions.